Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to work on a painting that was really a lot of fun to paint. And I think part of the reason it was fun is because I had no expectations. I had nothing I needed to do this for. I was just doing it for fun. And this is a watercolor calendar. It's basically a blank it's a calendar. It's from Lightwish, and it comes with this little stand, and there is a page for every month. It's on 100% cotton watercolor paper. The calendar printing is at the bottom edge of the paper, and up at the top edge is a quote from a famous artist. And then the center is blank for you to paint whatever you want on it. And it was so funny. I was having the most stressful, frustrating art week ever. Well, I don't know. It seems like I have these every winter, but I was very frustrated. And I had opened this box. I don't even know when I opened this box, but I'd forgotten about it. And I saw it again and I thought, that would be fun to do. And then you'll have to let me know what you think about this idea. But I thought might be kind of fun to every month, or like the last week or so of the previous month, say like the end of January, do a calendar page for February. And then we could do this together. And you could either paint along on regular paper or you could paint along with this calendar. It's not very expensive. I'm thinking it was around $15 or $20. And you get the calendar little stand, which works great for a phone stand. Actually, it's a nice reusable little stand, and all the papers. I thought it was quite a bargain, and the paper is decent quality. So anyway, because the quote was from Degas, who's famous for painting ballerinas, I thought it'd be fun to do a painting of some ballerinas. And I found a reference photo on Unsplash, and there were these, it looked like a couple girls having a conversation, kind of waiting in the wings for their turn to go on, watching the older girls dance. And I really wanted to keep everything kind of loose and just smudgy in the background. And I just wanted kind of the girls that looked like they were maybe giggling or gossiping or having a little conversation. I wanted them to be kind of the focus of this painting and in more of like a silhouette, but a more contrast. I wanted them to be kind of the star of the show, as opposed to the stars that are actually dancing on the stage at the time. So it just gave me Major Degas vibes, and I thought that it would be fun to paint. And I just am doing a really light sketch with a navy blue color ace pencil. I probably would have done actually like a really pale color, like a pink or a light blue, but I wanted it to show up on camera because I did turn the camera on to film it in case it came out. And I'm just kind of just loosely getting the silhouettes in. I'm really not going for detail. I want to get the gestures right, but as far as that, I mean, that's really the only accuracy I'm going for. I'm not even drawing in any of the background dancers or anything, because I just want those to be like impressions. And Degas was an impressionist. And actually, there was an interesting story about Degas. When he would teach his students, he would have a studio above the dance rehearsal hall, and he would take his students down to watch the ballerinas, but he wouldn't let them draw them there. And this was before cameras were, I don't know if I think they were around, but they weren't very common. He would take them down, have them watch the dancers, not let them sketch. He'd say, you need to memorize this. Then they would go back to the studio. Then he would have them paint the dancers. So I always think, wow, that's what a way to train your memory. And I always think about that when I'm out somewhere and I can't paint. I try to like just super remember what I see. I try to really notice rather than just look at something. I try to really see it. But I thought that was I don't even know if it's a true story, but I thought it was a really interesting story anyway about Edward Degas. Anyway, so now I'm putting in some washy colors. Oh, another reason here, I had a bunch of leftover paint because I had opened up an old palette and the paint had oozed onto the lid, and I didn't want to throw it away, so I put some in this palette when I was cleaning the lid off so I wouldn't have to throw it away. So I want to use that up. So that's also part of, like, this painting is really, it's like I didn't even know I had this calendar. I'd forgotten I'd opened it. It was sent to me from Lightwish. They'd asked me if I wanted to review some oil pastels, and I said, look, I'm in a very busy time of life. You can send them if you like. I may get to them, I might not. And they were like, that's fine. Use them if you can. Otherwise, consider it a gift and, have at it. And I saw this and I was like, oh, so they're kind of things that I didn't have expectation for. And so here I'm just kind of like very loosely sketching in some like ballet dresses, little like costumes, and getting this like some blue and some white and some yellow. Those are the colors that the dancers were wearing on stage. Now the girls in the wings, waiting in the wings, are silhouetted, and you can just almost see a glow of light around them, but you can't really see them. They're dark. So I wanted to just get all these really bright, joyful colors in the background, so I'll have something for the dancers to stand out against. So I dried my paper with my heat tool because now that I'm going in and painting the focal point dancers, which are the ones standing backstage, I wanted them to be really crisp. And so what I'm doing here, because I want this illusion of light, is I am painting in the silhouette of one dancer with like a cadmium red. And I would have used some sort of red or orange. That's what I happen to have left over on my palette from cleaning off a sticky lid. And then I'm dropping in some turquoise, some like phthalo blue. It might be Prussian blue. It's something that's like a very greeny blue, because I know it's going to make an almost black, but a very lively black. There I'm using the phthalo blue and the red. Now this middle dancer isn't getting as much light as the other two on the side. They're kind of blocking her a bit, so she's going to be just more dark, more silhouette. So I had an equal mix of the cadmium red and the phthalo blue there, and I'm just kind of just painting in her silhouette as I sketched it down. Now, is this a perfect composition? No, it's not. This was kind of hard to do on a landscape orientation because I was working from a vertical photo and I had cropped it down, but still I cropped it to a square. So I had to cut their legs off, but I think it actually kind of works because it makes you feel like you're maybe sitting backstage, kind of maybe looking over some boxes or some stuff. You're not seeing everything. You're just seeing this like little glimpse, this little conversation that these girls are having. Maybe they're like students and they're watching the prima ballerinas out there dancing. They're watching the professionals and their students. I don't know. I just thought they're having like a fascinating conversation, maybe about the techniques that they're doing, or maybe they're daydreaming of when it's their turn to be out there. They obviously have some costumes on, so they're probably about to get onto the stage themselves, but I just loved how youthful they looked. You know, they're obviously young, they're children, they don't have that really long, lanky, sleek ballerina look to them yet. They definitely look young. And I got the chin a little too pointy on the one on the left. That really should be more of a cheruby face, but we're going to work on it. And I want to put the curtains in to kind of frame the scene and also just to add a little more weight here and there. Now at this point, I'm pretty much done, but I was like, I think some pastel pencil would work really well. Degas worked in pastel, and I thought just adding these like little bits of glow and highlight to the focal point girls was going to work really well. And also I could add some definition to the dancers that are on stage, because right now, I mean, you can kind of see that there's a show being performed, but it's really vague, and I felt like it could use a little bit more structure. So I went in with a white pastel pencil to get the white on the dresses back, and also just to give a little more structure, a little more gesture there. It's a fine line. I don't want to put too much detail and draw the eye away from the girls, but I did want to get something there. It also kind of reminds me of Toulouse-Lautrec and the Dancing Girls, because the women on stage don't have the typical tutus. They're in more of like a folk type dress, it seems. So anyway, I just love how this was turning out. I had so much fun painting it, and it didn't take that long. It was about half an hour, which is pretty quick for me these days. I feel like I labor on things for much longer than I should. Long beyond the point where I'm enjoying it, but I enjoyed this entire process, and I stopped before I overworked it. And actually, one thing I would do the next time I do one of these pages, I'm going to wet the back of the paper and stick it down to this little plastic mat that I have, this chloroplast board, because it warped on me. I did end up folding a piece of copy paper around this, and I ironed it to flatten it out so it would stay on the easel fine and not be all warped. So that's one thing you want to consider, because I taped it down and it's still warped, but I don't have that much tape on the board. It's mostly just to protect my border here. You can see as I take the tape off, but yeah, I was able to just put it in some copy paper and iron it out to make it perfectly flat. But I really like how it turned out. I hope you did too. It was a lot of fun to paint, and I needed this really fun creative thing. And I'm thinking if I do this every month and I get inspired by the artist that left the quote on the calendar, it might be a fun challenge. So let me know if you want to do it too. I'll link to the calendar in the video description in case you want to get a copy, but obviously you'd be able to do it in a sketchbook or whatever you want. But anyway, hopefully I stick to it. I'm just kind of, tossing that out there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting.